Let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order.
Fear itself.
A world for the rule of law.
All right, welcome back to RedPill Rapport, everybody. It's been quite a while since I've connected with you folks, and actually it's been since this shit show started that we call the coronavirus pandemic. And, I'll be honest with you, during these uncertain times, I, as well as a lot of other people, have gone through some soul searching. And during the soul searching, I've come across some answers and I've come across some realizations, and I've realized that a collective needs to come together, and the right minded people need to come together. The people of the same vibration, the people that share the same thought process need to come together. And that's what's happening, is people are coming together. They're either coming together in fear of the coronavirus and whatever fear mongering is being presented to them, or they're coming together in love and with the high vibration. So with this realization that I've had, I've come together with a new tribe, a new group of people that have the same thought process, the same vibration. And in fact, these people are helping each other in their purpose and in their path. And that's what we have to present to you today, folks, listeners. We have a new host for our RedPill Rapport podcast. Josh is still part of the process, and he is still our producer and very much involved and very much dedicated to the project. However, we have a new vibration that is going to assist in our purpose. We're going to assist each other in our purpose. And you folks know this person already. And this person is a former guest on the podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I present to you our new co-host to RedPill Rapport, Mr. Harold Hoenow.
What's up, everybody? How is everybody doing? You recognize my voice? Should go check that podcast.
That's right.
Man, Romy, we've been on a ride, bro.
Dude, let me tell you.
Yeah. So, first of all, I want to thank anybody that sees this, now in the future, whenever you see this video or listen to this podcast, whatever format you find us on, you were sitting here for a reason. And, Romy and I, our paths crossed for an absolute reason, and has led to this wonderful event where we're here co-hosting RedPill Rapport, and we're super excited to bring you some of our personal experiences, and our opinions, and just a whole bunch of really cool stuff that we're going to have lined up. We've got some episodes already in the works. So some of the videos you may notice us in the same shirt, and that's because we're going to film a few different topics here for you guys in one day. Today is, what's today, Romy?
Today is the first day of the rest of your life.
No. Can I do a disclaimer for them now? Because I'm going to, I want y'all to know and feel who I am, but I'm human, first of all, right? Here, human, flesh suit. my mom was a sailor, so sometimes I have a potty mouth. And, so just get some of my humor when I do the potty mouth thing. And if it offends you, I apologize. Sometimes it slips and I don't know, but I'm trying to be a little bit more aware of that. But the disclaimer is just, we're going to get the true us. And I think that's the biggest part of what we're putting together here, and why Romy and I found each other is because we just really want to express ourselves in the most authentic way, and be an expression of how people can come together and help unify. And, when you have teams of people together, you can accomplish so much more. It's called synergy. Right. And so that's what we're working to create here for you guys. And so I thank Romy and everyone for allowing me this opportunity to come and express myself. And we're just going to have a lot of fun, I believe. We're going to have a lot of laughs, cries, and all kinds of emotions rolling through this roller coaster as we experience everything together.
That's right. That's right. And I'll tell you, man, us coming together and being of the right mindset, we are attracting the same people of that right mindset. So it goes back to that saying, your vibe attracts your tribe. And that's what we're attracting here today. So you listener, listening to this podcast, either for the first time or if you've been following the RedPill Rapport podcast, you are in the most perfect place at the perfect time. And yeah, guess what? This podcast, I'll have a potty mouth too. We're going to say how we feel. And it's going to be from one spectrum to another. We're going to talk about the light and the blissing out, and then we're going to talk about the dark. And you people need to know what's out there on all ends of the spectrum, because it's not all just doom and gloom. There's a lot of light out there, and there's a lot of promise and a lot of hope. And Harold and I know we are in the know. We get it. We know the formula. So, Harold, why don't you tell me about your awakening? What was the process with your awakening, and when was it?
My awakening was about 10 years ago, and I was 33 years old at the time, and I was going through a separation with my ex. My daughter's 12 now, and I was all about family when we were together. So when that happened, I was like heartbroken, and I felt lost. I mean, I get my daughter every other week for a full week. That's been that way since the beginning. And so the weeks that I didn't have her, I would get out of work and I'd come home to this very quiet house. And just for anybody that knows, Romy and I are in the same room. So when I look this way, I'm looking at Romy.
Yeah.
And when Romy looks my way,
this way. When I look this way, I'm looking at Harold. And when Harold looks this way, he's looking at me.
Yeah. And when we look that way,
oh man, that looks really
we're not
weird.
looking at each other.
So like in the camera, like when I'm looking this way, I'm looking opposite of you, and you're looking. So we need to work on that.
So if I did this and you do that, when we look over there for a second.
Oh, here we go.
Are we talking?
Harold,
does it look like we're talking to each other?
Yep, sure does.
It's not like that in real life, guys.
Oh man, hold on. They didn't see what we're talking about. So here's us not talking to each other, and here's us talking to each other.
All right.
All right. So I'm gonna fix that. While we talk about your awakening.
Yes. All right. So
Heartbroken.
Heartbroken. Those times of feeling lost and just not knowing what to do with myself. It was it was a dark time for me. It's probably one of the darkest times in my life. And one of the things I had asked, baby mama was, I didn't want her to get with one guy and bring him around so soon for my daughter. She was only 4 at the time. I didn't want her to see her leave daddy and then go right to another guy and then possibly to another guy and to another guy and to another guy. I didn't want my daughter to see that. Right. So that nightmare kind of came in the first part of it, where I found out through some really funny means. My daughter kept coming home and it's like, Stewie this and Stewie that. And I'm like, who's Stewie, from Family Guy? And she's like, no, Stewie. And I'm like, oh, this makes no sense. And she kept doing it. And I asked her mom, like, hey, who's Stewie? Sadie keeps talking about Stewie. Oh, I don't know. And then finally it came out where she's like, oh, that's Joseph. She calls him Stewie. And I'm like, oh, Joseph, the guy that you were kind of flirting with before we separated. And so you obviously are with. I was like, are y'all seeing each other? Like, no, we're not dating, but he's been around her like before, like within the first month of us separating. So I was like,
wow.
I didn't care if she was with someone else. I was seeing other girls and, having my fun. But when I had my daughter, it was daughter daddy time all the time. Right. I didn't bring any other girls around unless I knew they were going to be that part in their life that they got to know and be a part of their life. And so, what's said and done now? How long are we out? Not almost 10 years. 10 years ago is when that happened. And so she's still with the guy. They're engaged. I'm happy about that. But that night when I found everything out, I was distraught. I was in a different mindset than I am now. And I went to sleep crying. I was asking for guidance. I didn't ask it from any being or anything in particular. I just said, please point me in the right direction. I feel like I'm in the crossroads of my life and I don't know what to do. And I'm worried about my daughter's health and her mental well-being. And, as we get more into talking about who we are, there's parts of my life that will tell you why that's kind of a thing for me. And it's things that we all process, that we have some type of programming from childhood. So that's a childhood programming that I didn't want my daughter to see the mom going from guy to guy to guy.
Right.
Getting it? Anyway, sorry, Mom. But I know how that feels. Right. So I went to bed crying for the well-being of my daughter's mental health and emotional health and for the long term, not just tomorrow or the next day. And I asked for guidance. And so I was working at a publishing company called Harris Connect. And they would do alumni directories, things like that for anybody that wants to connect with their old classmates. So it's like really cool. And so...
Was that a call center?
Yeah, it was a call center.
Okay.
Right, call center. So people had to call in. There was an inbound call center. Some were outbound, mainly inbound. I was good at my job. I would often take very long on the phone calls and be like an hour in and, sell them a book. So I was good at selling these directories and CDs and stuff like that, DVDs.
Would it be safe to say you have the gift of gab?
Gift of gab. Can you hear my gabbing? I'm gabbing along. Yeah, we gab very merrily. I like to get to know people. Yes. That's how I learn. I don't learn, I used to be that young child that only would learn from my own experiences, right? We've all been there.
Of course.
But as you get older, you're like, why the fuck am I going to go do that so I can experience that heartache or this or that pain in my life? When I saw them go through it, am I going to go make the same mistakes? So I learned for a lot. And that company was cool. I got to talk to inventors and lawyers, doctors, therapists, teachers, just all kinds of different people. So I learned so much. I value every experience that I've ever gone through. So anyway, I'm on the phone, and this must have been Monday or Tuesday. What happened was on a Sunday where I was crying for my daughter's well-being. So Monday, Tuesday rolls around. I get a call from Joni Eisinger, and we'll talk more about her later. That's I dubbed her with a sword. I dubbed thee my official spiritual awakener.
Yes.
So she answered the call to the nth degree. So this is how it went down.
You answered the call of her answering the call.
Man, see how it works?
You both answered the call.
We answered
literally
some calls.
and figuratively.
See how did this is like really people pay attention to what we're talking about. Even when we're joking around, we're giving you quantum information.
That's synchronicity, folks.
Yeah, it's synchronicities, which is quantum communication. Damn, whoa, bro! I just broke that down right now.
For sure.
Synchronicities are quantum communication.
Wow. Have you ever said that before?
Nope.
Ooh.
This is how it happens, folks.
Quote, Harold.
Let me tell you a secret.
Awesome. Okay, so then what happened?
Okay, so I'm on the phone with her, and we get down to what she does for work. We're having a good time talking about Columbia University. I'm going to spill the beans on everything. I don't think it needs to be hidden.
Boom.
Where she went to school and, who my friend, what her name is and stuff like that. Because we're going to have her on here eventually interviewing. I think that's a part of what we would like to do.
We'd love that.
Yes. And so anyway, I'm there on the phone. We're having a good time. We're talking. And then I ask her what she does for work. And she goes, oh, it's a little out there, Harold. Like I can hear the inflection in her voice where she's like, oh, shit, I don't know what this is literally what she said is, I don't know what my old classmates are going to think of what I do now. Yeah. And so she went to school for social work. And I know, see, this is where I put pieces together. Social workers, teachers, nurses, therapists, things of that line. 9 times out of 10, you're going to have someone that has a pure heart that's trying to do well for others and went and got a job doing that.
Sure.
And so I recognize that in most of those professions as that is the energetic signature a healer is within those people. Some of them get into for the money, and I'm not counting them. I'm counting the ones that do it out of the love for human beings.
Sure.
And so I was getting that already from her, right? And so she's like, I don't know, it's a little out there. And I said, well, just let me know what it is, and I can work it in there. We'll have it make sense for them. She's like, well, I'm a spiritual healer, and I'm clairvoyant, and I'm clairaudient. I can hear, I can see, I can play all these things, and I channel the Pleiadians and a being named David and all this stuff. I'm like,
mind blown.
Yeah, mind blown. Can I have like that was delivered to me?
Wow, all at once like that?
Yeah,
dude.
It was my awakening was like an avalanche of information and experiences, and then recap and different perspective of old experiences to decipher the codes from that. Just within like 6 months, and it just expanded this whole wealth of knowledge and pieces of puzzles of my life, things that I had believed in, like paranormal, aliens, but God and Jesus and all these things. Like, how does that all fit in to make a clear, cognizant, coherent picture for me? And, you know, that's kind of what it did. But, you know, what happened? So the real cool thing is I'm not done with the story of meeting, you know, having that official spiritual awakening, because some real crazy stuff happened with that. So first I didn't sell her anything. During the conversation, after she had given me a whole boatload of information, and, you know, I'll bring it to show you guys, but I still have this paper. When I said, oh my God, you're a spiritual healer, please tell me more. She goes, okay, well, this, that, and that's when she told me about channeling and the healing and this, that, and the other. And I was like, wow, okay. And she goes, well, are you ready for, like, you want to know more? And I was like, well, yes, please. And she said, well, you ready for me to open Pandora's box? Whoa. That's literally what she said. And I'm just like, yes, please. And I had already grabbed a pen and a paper, because I was like, yeah, what's this lady going to tell me now? I want to know. And I felt it in my heart and in my gut. I was following my tum-tum. I was following this Geiger count. I don't know. What are those things that, like, your guidance, whatever, right? My intuition, gut feelings. And so I still have that paper. I'll bring it one of these days to show you guys. It just has all, like, it's 3/4 of a page of just books, subject matter. So, like, David Wilcock, chakras, Galactic Federation of Light, Hoenow, like Native American stuff, like Rainbow Tribe, YouTube, so many different things. Magenta Pixie and books by Carolyn Miss, the healing, I don't know what it was. Spirit Body or whatever. Anyway, so I bought every book. I looked everything up. I did all the research. I said, holy moly, mind blown. This puts everything in perspective and gives me a new light on how the spiritual, the metaphysical, the physical, and all that just kind of, it melds together and paints you the picture. Like it tells a whole story on our human evolution, and then you can take it the step further into the quantum realms, which has been the last few years where I've been looking at things, you know, without time and space really being involved in it,
right?
But being a part of, not a part of the construct, but a part of the frequency that you can use those things within it. Like some people would say, like the Gregorian calendar. How can you look at things from the Gregorian calendar? It was only created X amount of years ago, and we have these natural sine waves and like the moon cycles and things like calendar. We should have a 13 moon calendar if we wanted to go by natural cycles. And so how do you match astrological things with the Gregorian thing? It's because it's a part of the quantum pattern. It's the playscape that we're in. It's a frequency, it's a bandwidth that everything within this tune, this thing, right, like a radio station, this is the country music.
Right.
Tuned to this, and it's like rock and roll. So that's kind of like what we're working with here. Anyway, that was my spiritual awakening.
Oh, wow.
And that night was David Wilcock, Enigma 2012. That was the first video I watched. It was about 3 hours long. I was up to about 3 in the morning. And I was like, you know, that was it. And so that was almost 10 years ago. And even on that paper that I wrote, it was a scratch paper. I checked years afterwards and was like, all right, let me see if there's some synchronicities within that paper, because I still have it. Because I knew there was some like a project that we had on the front side of it. And so I got it, I flipped it over, and see, everything about me is like these double numbers and stuff.
Right.
And so first of all, I was born on 11/22/77 at 11 p.m. 11 p.m. on the dot.
Whoa.
Spiritual awakening at 33, and Sedona on 11/11/11, and just all these things just add up like that for me. And so when I found the paper, it said 10/22/10. So it was October 22nd, 2010 was, and so there wasn't that date that I wrote it down. That was probably a few weeks prior or whatever, which would have put me at 32 years of age. But if it happened after 11/22, then I think I would have been, I was 33 at the time. So that's probably when that paper was, like so it's too crazy. It's just because I'm trying to figure it all out. But the other part with the story, I was on the phone with Joni for about an hour, and in that conversation, I told her I don't care if I sell her a book or even if I lose my job, because the information that she gave me was just so worth it.
Right.
And I got a slap on the wrist the next day when I came into work. They're like, HR was like coming in, called me into the office. She's like, Harold, you were on the phone. Why would you tell them you don't care about your job? And you don't care about getting fired? Really? I'm listening to the calls. Holy and it was so funny. I'm
wow.
Like, but because I was good, I'm likable, and I was good at selling the books, which is good for them because my sales rate was high. My time frame was too long, so I didn't qualify for extra money, which is good for the business. They're like, dude, he still sells books and he doesn't get the extra money in his paychecks. So.
Right.
So anyway,
slap on the wrist.
Yeah, slap on the wrist. But she said, Harold, I need you to listen to the audio on this. I was listening to it, and then something came.
Who said this? HR?
Yeah, HR. Her name is Bethany. Ooh. She went to the same high school as me, and so anyway, she's like, looking in awe and intrigue. Like, Harold, I needed to show you this. You need to hear this. Okay, so I'm listening to the audio, and this is what happens. That when you and her say this and that, and I don't remember what we said, but it was almost one of those things like, oh, you're a spiritual healer? Then wow. But it wasn't that. It was later on in the conversation where we were getting some aha moments. And it was maybe like where we had made the connection that she was there for me because I had put the word out, type of a thing.
Right, that moment.
And then this voice in between says, beautiful.
What?
Well, not like that. It was more of a woman voice. It wasn't so whispery. Beautiful. It was like, yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah,
like
beautiful.
It was all demonic.
Oh, man, that was beautiful.
Oh, man. Y'all too, so sweet and beautiful.
That was beautiful.
No. It was a woman's voice that just very angelic, super angelic. And that's why this lady was freaking out, because she was like, did you hear that? It just said, beautiful. And I was like, what the? Because we didn't hear that. We didn't hear that. There was nobody in her home. And I was in my own little cubicle with the headset on, and you could only hear me. You don't hear everything else. And nobody's going to, nobody through that day walked up behind me in my cubicle and said, I wasn't being called beautiful around the workspace, and that's just my nickname or anything. It didn't happen like that. This was like some other being or angelic. I don't know. It was so crazy. So ever since then was me diving into all the information and just kind of unlocking my own codes.
Wow. That's crazy. So HR caught this EVP and brought it to your awareness.
Yeah.
That's probably why you didn't get fired. They thought probably they're going to get haunted or something.
Right. They were scared. It's just not him. He's got people backing him that I cannot see.
He cool. Mm-hmm. He's beautiful. No, he's beautiful.
They said it. My angels say he's beautiful.
Wow, man. So what a good story. What a great way to answer the call. Right. Yeah. You answered the call, and this is your spiritual teacher one of your teachers.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
like your first one.
Yeah. We've been in communication through Facebook and phone and things like that. And she's given me readings, personal readings on different situations when I'm going through things, because I didn't feel like I had anybody. I didn't have anybody. I didn't know about any of these metaphysical fairs that were happening in town where I can go and say, hey, I need to find out what the hell just happened over there. Yeah.
It's like a mentor. She's your mentor.
Yeah, and so she was there, no charge, and she's helped me with many things. We've been together in many lifetimes, and very funny situations and things like that. And she's put some of my soul brothers, and she's had communications with them and said, "Oh yeah, y'all were all together like Aztec warriors, and y'all used to have fire ceremonies." And she didn't get into detail, but I've gotten the download that was our ancestral self, which is us, right? It's us in the past,
Right.
That we used to have these fire ceremonies where we're like doing our chanting and like whatever, like Aztec warriors going around this fire, and we were giving the energy to who we are now. Like basically, my future. Like they knew that.
Yeah,
they weren't sitting there playing to the gods.
For generations to come.
They knew they were the gods.
Mm-hmm.
They got the quantum understanding or understanding. And so they knew that that their bloodline was going to travel down a lineage of in a quantum way, in a physical way, the landscape of this space.
Right.
And they were basically doing these ceremonies for their future self, which is us here in the flesh.
Right.
So zippity doo dah day, you have been worshipped before. And that's for everybody. That's not just for me. That's like for many. I honestly don't feel like some people get upset with this like notion of, we're all gods. And yes, we are. But what you express here in this space, are you expressing that? Are you to that level yet where you're consciously aware of that?
Right.
Some are not there. And so I don't put them in the same space as beings that say, you know what? I know what vibration I want to emit. I know that if I emit that vibration to a certain extent, I will attract my family, and we will do a job, and we will come here and express ourselves in a way that gets more people in line with that. But not everybody's going to want to do the work.
Right.
They're going to want to sit there and watch it get done by someone else, and then maybe they pass on just as a soul experience to witness some really cool shit go down, but not really do it, because maybe another time they did do it already, and they're like, man, this time I'm taking a spectator route on this perspective, and I'm cool with that too. But I talk to the ones that are mainly out here saying, you know what, my heart is calling me to go combine with other people in unity, and I'll sweat. What do we need to do? Like, what kind of work needs to be done?
Right.
And that's where we've met each other, and you manifest some real crazy shit when you start getting into this.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so fast forward to now. What's your project now? You have a website, right? You have
Well, my website is me kind of piggybacking off of my friend JoJo Campbell. She's down in Honduras right now. She actually bounced out of the U.S. right before all this stuff went down. So she's living in the jungles.
She got lucky.
Yeah, she did. She's eating off the trees. She's doing little workout videos where she's like, oh, look at this pipe hanging underneath this bridge. This is my workout station now. This is Gold's Gym.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, she's awesome, man. She is definitely like one of my soul sisters. And anyway, she's got it. It's very long. So maybe we'll put a link in there, so you can just tap the link instead of like trying to write this whole thing on. It's manifestationalenergyexchange.com.
Boom.
And then I think there's a / and an infinite U77. But where I'm at now is my business is Infinite U. And then when I tag the 77, that's my birth date. So that would be a link to all the social media, whether it's YouTube, my Facebook business page, and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll put all that links in the description.
Yeah. And then making the orgonite pendants is like the biggest thing that has gotten me to where I'm at now. Yeah.
These are EMF protectors, balancers. So, so any of the electromagnetic, the West here in the United States, we call it electromagnetic frequency, right? But the rest of the world calls it radiation. So these devices right here protect you from radiation. Okay. So there you go. So very good. Awesome, man. That's what a great story, and what a great time. What a great time on Earth to sip tea on a mic. Lovely. Beautiful. It's beautiful. So man. I said, no. So people are going to call me out on that.
But you said and then no. Which is it?
Yeah, no. So
you're so imbalanced, Romy.
Yeah, no. No, that is balance. That's perfect.
On both sides of the
spectrum.
spectrum.
I'm yes and no. What do you want? What do you want? I'm yes and no. So, what a perfect time for us to come together in this paradigm, this new paradigm that we're at, because there's definitely a separation happening. There's definitely some division happening. And the division that I'm seeing is the division of the people who are either living in fear because they're watching the news, because they're paying attention to the politics, because they're paying attention to the education system, the religions, the media, Hollywood, the radio, everything in this matrix that's here to control us, they're falling for hook, line, and sinker. It's black magic, folks. And once you learn how the magic works, it doesn't work on you anymore. So you're going to hear some stuff from us that makes you feel uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And guess what? You have to hear it. And that's what the red pill is. You have to hear it bits and pieces at a time. We're not going to throw it all at you at once, and we're going to ask that you do your own research, of course, and not, you don't have to believe everything we say. But in order for you to have a valid debate with us, or a valid conversation, or some sort of dialogue with your opinion, we assume that you've done your own research, and we will be able to tell if you didn't. So that's where we're at. We're going to be on both ends of the spectrum. We're going to be on the light, because there is a whole new love paradigm out there, guys. I'm talking about the people in fear, but there's a whole new group of people that are awakened, that have been awakened during this pandemic. They've been awakened. They've had time to sit at home and work on themselves. I did. I've leveled up so many times during this pandemic. I've been through so much emotion and stress, and I've dealt with it, and I know this is part of the war that we're in, and the war of consciousness, and the war is to bring our consciousness down, and once you recognize that that's what we're battling against, then you can fight that ego. You can fight those negative thoughts, and use everything that you've trained, everything that you've heard to overcome those thoughts. And you can use those tools in the moment. And this is the time to do it, Harold. That's what we're here for.
Yep.
To
Absolutely.
teach people how to do that, and to teach them through our experiences. You know, a smart man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from others. So listen to our experiences. Listen to what we have to say. Again, you don't have to believe it, but if you're here listening to this 30 minutes in, you are destined to be here, most definitely.
Yes. So part of, what Romy was saying here, I want to just go ahead and touch on that a little bit, because I don't want anybody to get, because sometimes I have to read into the way people read into things. So, for example, and this is almost how I see things. This is all right.
Preach, brother. Preach, brother.
All right. So, since my spiritual awakening, I did develop my own business, like I said, Infinite You, and that was about 5-6 years ago, maybe, and it pushed me out into doing classes and being able to talk with more people about these things in an open manner, because I coined myself a practical spiritual advisor and community activist. So it also put me in the community a lot of times, working with policy making groups or influencing groups like the Food Policy Council of San Antonio, working with politicians, businesses, things like that. I've been able to see how some people pick up on certain words or connotations, and one of the things that I want to make sure that there's my interpretation of what Romy just said, and instead of looking at it as a fight, excuse me, water, good alkaline water. Give me a sec.
As we pause for a logo break on the YouTube channel, we get Harold Hoenow. Did you drink the water?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. But so instead of using the word fight or using the vision, right? So if you see fight, you're like, you're pushing up against something.
Right.
And what I feel like is the biggest words to be using in that respect is integration. Because when you fight, you're in an emotional state, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in an emotional state that takes you off of balance, where you're just like, yo, I get it all. I sit here in this space where I don't get taken out of pocket because I see it. I'm above it.
Right.
And so when we look at it in that way, we're no longer fighting it. We're seeing every bad or little mistake or negative or distortion in the field as that learning experience. And how do you learn from it? Don't let it take you out of pocket emotionally, and then you watch it turn into a coherent phase. So it's every negative experience where even the stuff that would look like it's trying to bring us down, it's really just us wanting to be integrated. So as parts of ourselves are like hitting this distortion phase, right? Because we are all spectrums, right? So the spectrum that we are at because all of this is a holographic matrix, if you ask me.
Right.
And so every negative thing that morphs itself into the holographic matrix finds itself, if it's a distortion, then that's a negative experience. It's a rough, it's distortion, it's a lot of friction, right? We talk about the friction in our lives and stuff like that. So that's the distortion. When you look at it and you say, I see you for what you are. And it says, oh, you honor me. And when we do that within our own selves, when we honor each other, we cause that being, or we promote a harmonic frequency within the other part of ourself that says, oh, you honor me and where I'm at. Sometimes that means people and things or experiences will find, as you honor them, if it's a low vibration, slow moving, frictional distortion, because you're here, like I'm love and light, I want to be the best person I can be. And then when distortions come into your field, it's because they're doing this, and you're, and it's like, and so this is the distortion. Right. You're trying to be this nice sine wave, and it's coming and messing everything up. But when you honor it, you say, I know where you belong. And it pushes itself further away from you, and you can be aware of it, but it doesn't bother you.
Right.
I don't know if I can see that. But the slow distortion is further away from me, and I'm vibrating here. It's like when you drop a pebble into the still water, and you see it ripple out. In the epicenter, it's the highest. It's all woo, and then out there it slows down, and that's where you allow people, if they want to be that slower vibrating, lower vibration energy, they will find themselves over there.
Gotcha. So it's good to observe what's happening in the vibration. And when I'm talking about getting into fear, or if anything presents itself into your life that brings you out of balance, like a phone call or a text message, or somebody makes you angry, somebody cuts you off in traffic, anytime you start deviating from your high vibration, recognize and observe what that is that's out of balance, that's happening, and observe it and transmute it or integrate it.
You observe it within the knowing that it is part of you that needs to be balanced.
Okay.
Because the holographic matrix, everything within it is you. The trees, this is where you get to that consciousness that is more in totally uniting on every front, and where permaculture plays a big part into my daily practices and the way I view the world. Do your own research into that. It's not always about fruits and veggies and growing plants and shit. It's permanent culture, and it's unifying the whole field. And so any distortion is really just about you. When we you can use the word transmute. A lot of people that are out there like to call themselves an empath. I'd say change that word around and use what Romy said, be a transmuter. That means you own the vibration and the energy that you are. When people dump those things on you, like, oh, I'm an empath, and I had a conversation, and she just, all her baby daddy problems, I feel them now, and I want to vomit. It's like, okay, take a deep breath. I'm going to assist my sister there that's with that baby daddy that's, whatever, and I want to send love and light to the both of them, and I'm not even going to let them affect me, because I have tools and techniques, breathing, drinking good tea, going out into Mother Nature, that you use that are within your field, that are all separate parts of yourself. It's like going to yourself for your answers and your healing.
Right.
And when you utilize the tools around you, you've just now assisted that person, and you become a transmuter rather than just an empath that gets knocked down every time. It's because you have the tools to keep your ass upright.
Sure.
So it's just the perspective that we look at things that, you know, and this is, again, you know, what Romy and I were talking about before we did this is, you know, Romy, what's the website, Romy, your website?
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. It's going to be RomiNava.com.
Right. And so I had asked Romy, like, hey, you know, jumping in here, I really want to get to know him. And this is where, you know, everything that we do, I try to be 100% transparent. And, you know, this is how I try to operate. I want to get to know you. Like, I want to get to know your experiences. I want to get to know where you want to go. What are your aspirations? What inspires you? That way I can assist. And so the whole idea with that is Romy and myself can edify each other through getting to know each other and where our heart space is at. And so I asked Romy what he wants to do going forward. So those that don't really know, he's doing a training for QHHT hypnosis, Reiki certified, and wants to get in. We're working, you know, Mind Practical Spiritual Advisor, which is in all senses a life coach, right? And technically, if you go look at, there's no certifications that have to be done. There's no schooling that has to be done to say you're a life coach. You need to go experience life, and then you're a life coach. If you can take yourself from this low vibration to a high vibration life, then you have some value, and you should be a life coach if that's what you want to pursue. And so I dove into this quite a few years ago, and I've been witnessing this stuff just as we discussed, you know, talked about a minute ago on how I perceive things and how I shift them and morph them to work for me rather than being something that I can even look back later and be like, man, that was a hell of a fight. It's just the words. I've used to use all those words, and I'll still do it where I go and I say, and I push my energy almost as if it feels like a fight, but it's because I'm required to just push the energy out. Right. And I still do it with coming from my heart with love. But anyway, I've been doing this crazy ass work for a long time. We'll get into more topics where I've gridded the city of San Antonio and, you know, travel here and there to like activate things and just go where I'm called. We'll do a lot more of that. This is not that show. This is the one where I, you know, just really want to express who I am. So that way you guys know that I'm not just talking out of my arse. And, And so, that's right. So I almost lost my train of thought. All right. So what I was getting at was that Romy is saying that he wants to be a life coach, right? And so he's a life coach in training. Because when was your official spiritual awakening?
You know, my awakening was the very last week of 2012.
See, and that's not that long ago. Mine happened in, you know, a few years before that. And so it's almost like, and it depends on, not everybody's going to like go through the same timeline when they have a spiritual awakening. Like, oh, you're 2 years in, well, you should be doing this. Oh, you're 5 years in, you should be at that level. It's not like that. Everybody's different. Mine just led me to this path, and I believe it's also because the codes I spoke about before with my birth date, it's something that has been ingrained in me and been a vision of mine since I was a child. That I was going to be on the top of this hill, this mountain with doom and gloom on one side and utopia on the other side, and leading people over, grabbing them by one hand, go over there, wash yourself off, dust yourself off, you're going to be okay. And so I've been living it and doing it and practicing it and being it for quite some time. So this is where you'll see this kind of play with Romy and myself, where he'll say that he's the student in that right now. And that doesn't mean he's going and getting a certification or a degree or anything in life coaching, because you don't need it. You need life experience. And Romy's taking himself from one expression to a new expression, and y'all are going to witness that. And I'll tell you how I've been doing that. And you can follow my own YouTube channel and see my crazy shit that I was going through back then. But it's almost like spiritual Montessori school, where there's different gradiences that are like within the same field, and they're just assisting each other. We're all learning. One's got a little bit more information here. Another one has a little bit more information here. Because this is all Romy's stuff right here. Camera mics, all this stuff. And I'm learning stuff from him. So his life experience took him to this other level, or this expression, that he has much more information on things that I have no idea about, that I would love to learn from him, and vice versa. So you're going to witness that here live and direct on screen. That's this is really, I think this is a real treat for people. Sorry, Romy, but I want y'all to let us know in the comments and everywhere that you can. Tell us what you think And any feedback, like if I talk too much, say, man, that Harold guy, how the fuck is he the new host? Or no, I don't want you to tell me. Like I'll adjust. I have no problem with adjusting.
Yeah, absolutely, totally, guys. Like, give us feedback. Let us know what we can do better and what we should not do. So yeah, definitely. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad you brought it up. I trained for Dolores Cannon's quantum healing hypnosis technique, and it's a past life regression technique where we take you back to a couple past lives, and then we can connect you to the subconscious, which essentially is your higher self. Now, when you connect with your higher self, and you can connect with all that there was, all that there is, and all that there ever will be. And you can connect, you get answers, you can get healings. It's a great technique. Dolores Cannon has about 19 books out there that documents all of her clients. Her books are not just her writing. Her books are documenting her clients' outcomes. So there's a lot of information out there, and this is where the paradigm is going. So if you've had any sort of interest in quantum healing hypnosis technique, past life regressions, if you've heard of it, I am not an intern yet, but I'm practicing to become an intern. So what that means to you is you have potentially can get a free quantum healing hypnosis technique session with me, and that'll help me with my practice. And back in 2014, August 1st, I completed my Reiki Level 1 and Reiki Level 2 courses. That was in the very beginning of my spiritual awakening, the first year and a half in. And I honestly didn't really know what Reiki was or how it worked. I knew it was a healing modality, and something deep down inside me told me I was a healer. So I didn't deny that feeling. I went with it. So that's why I was gifted the course, and I took it, and I learned quantum breath as well with that, and that's through my spiritual teacher, Margaret Bryant. And we've had her on the episode as well. She's a channeler. We will have her again on the episode as a channeler and as a guest, and we hope to have her on often. But so yeah, that's where I'm at as far as my modalities. And I am, I do have a life coach myself, and I'm learning different modalities to help myself. So that's what I've been doing this whole quarantine. I took the opportunity of my contract running out at my job to have all this time to work on myself, to do the shadow work. And the shadow work, I believe, has been done. We connected during this, the end of the latter part of this pandemic, and Harold and I, we've performed some ceremonies, a summer solstice ceremony, and that ceremony was beautiful. We have a video that we put together on it that we're going to save. We should save to talk about that on another episode, right? What do you think?
Yeah, we can talk about that, the more intimate details of that.
Yeah, so that was super cool, man. That was like, man, we had drum circles, singing bowls, fire spinning.
Flow art.
Flow art? Okay, flow art.
Yeah, we didn't get to light up the fire. It was too windy.
I was waiting for that. But
Yeah,
I
know.
Oh, man, he's taking
Yeah, I know that windy.
So Jeremy always busted that out stuff. Yeah, we should have him on the episode.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get him on the episode. That's my soul brother. That I feel Romy's in the same thing, right? So his soul brother too, because he's connected with Jeremy. Without me being there and stuff. Yeah. So Jeremy makes the same pendants. He's been doing it for longer. So. Yeah. So then, and then we did the latest episode, the latest experience we had, ceremony or whatever we did, the CE5 meditation.
Yeah, we did the CE5 meditation in Kerrville. Dude, and that. So for those of you that don't know, that's a meditation to initiate contact.
Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, baby.
Yeah, and we did it on the last day of the harmonic convergence of 2020 at the right time. So what was happening was a mass meditation, global It was a global mass meditation.
Yeah.
So that's another episode we want to talk about.
You may see us in the same shirts talking about that episode.
Yeah. so that's where we're at, folks. So this is you got a little taste of Harold's quantum mind and the way he thinks and the way I think and the way we can complement each other and supplement each other. And I feel good about this. I've been quiet. I've been really, really quiet, and you've motivated me to start speaking up.
Yeah, thank you.
So we're gonna work on our throat chakras so we can speak our truth, and we are going to be part of this new paradigm, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the thing. There's like a leading edge of the sword, and we're in it.
we're going gung ho.
Yeah.
So if you haven't, please like and subscribe the channel, whichever you're listening to this on, because Harold will be uploading it to his website and his channel. We'll upload this to the RedPill Rapport YouTube channel as well. And just like it, subscribe, share, give us some comments. That helps with the algorithm, and that's what we need to do. So YouTube is kind of weird with stuff, but we haven't really said anything that they're.
No, I think we're under the radar right now for sure. I know my guides have kind of put me there for the longest time. I wish my YouTube channel would have blown up, but I wasn't as consistent. I wasn't guided to be as consistent as I should have been, like a YouTuber. But we got an opportunity to be really consistent with these, so you guys have amazing content coming at you, at least 1 to 2 times a week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we want to do that, and then we want to start doing a Facebook Live on Friday nights to talk about the content that we talked about on the episode, and to just free flow. We'll be able to take phone calls. So we look forward to doing this. Thank you for tuning in, folks. Harold, thank you for joining me and joining us in this endeavor. And we look forward to having some great conversations.
Okie dokie.
All right, guys. Thanks, and we'll see you on the other side.
Love always in all ways.